You're watching Grassroots Resistance Collective, Texas grown, people powered, and unapologetically bold. We expose corruption, amplify real candidates, and give voters the truth the system tries to bury. No spin, no sellouts, just resistance. Let's get to work.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Friday, August 22nd. I am here with my guest, with my co-host Chastity and Jen. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Justin Early. He is he's a candidate for U.S. Congress for Texas District 31. How are you today, Mr. Justin?
I'm doing phenomenal. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks. I really appreciate you coming on with us. First of all, can we just start by letting you introduce yourself and telling us a little bit about who you are and what you have going on with your campaign?
Absolutely. So, as you stated, my name is Justin Early. I am running for Congress in District 31. I grew up in this area. I'm from Central Texas, and my parents actually, both my parents were in the military. So I'm from a very military and working class family. And when I was 7 years old, my father was stationed at Fort Hood, right up the road here, which is also in Texas 31. I went to elementary school there. And then right before Desert Storm, Desert Shield, my father and mother moved us down to Leander, which is still in Texas 31, about 45 minutes away. And my parents only had one car at the time. So my mother would get up before formation for my father and drive up to Fort Hood, drop him off in formation, then drive back down to go to Austin in order to go to work herself. So that was about an hour and a half to 2 hour round trip. So that kind of commitment and selfless service has been ingrained in me since I was, very young. After that, I graduated high school from Leander High School. So after that, I joined the military myself, and I was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I was a paratrooper, jumped at a mini airplane, maybe the same one, but a bunch of times. And after that, I was stationed at the Pentagon, and I worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency. And after that, I moved here back to Texas and raised my family in the DFW area. My wife and I, we have 7 grown children. And we now live in Georgetown, Texas. My parents are getting a little bit older, and I guess they don't want to hear that part, but I didn't want my sister to be the only one taking care of them. So we came down here to be with them. And so while down here and in the area, of course, politics has always been an interest of mine. I've done a lot of work in the county up in Tarrant County, up in that area, and worked for a couple congressional campaigns up there as well. But down here, I saw an opportunity to talk to the people and the voters who are in the area, who I grew up with, who I know, and I live with, frankly. I work for Dell Technologies today, and so I do have a day job that I have to get up early in the morning and go work. But after that, I hit the campaign trail. And I see and understand what working families are going through. I have 7 grown children, as I had stated before, and they have varying degrees of success in capitalism. And so that struggle themselves, I feel like I did a lot of work and effort on myself. My parents did a lot of work and effort. And it seems like the American dream is just getting further and further away from us. So what I'm doing in running for Congress is trying to bring all those economics policies and common sense laws back to the area so that we can actually take care of working families. People who actually run this country are the ones who have the least representation, the most marginalized, and then the ones who they keep chasing that dream. So I want to help bring that back to people and bring that back to the area I grew up in.
So you talked a little bit about the American dream. So did you about us getting farther away from the American dream? So did you feel like there was any kind of pressure for you to jump into this type of into this race now?
Yeah, I'd say now specifically. My parents, like I said, are both former military, and they're both retired. And they get about 80% of their income from the federal government, whether that be military retirement, VA retirement, those type of things. And that's how they are, they're sustaining themselves. Well, when we had all this rhetoric that was going on in the news about taking away pensions, taking away the healthcare of veterans. I'm a veteran, and I take VA healthcare, and that's important to me. And being at the VA hospital in Temple, which is also in the district, I saw some great things that were happening and some horrible things that were happening because people were waiting so long. And when they took the cuts to the VA, we have 11 VA facilities in this region or in this district. And when they had their personnel cut and everything else like that, those lines keep getting longer. Those times to get healthcare is getting longer. And if we're actually going to take care of our veterans, the last thing we should do is cut in those departments. We should be funding those departments. We should be doing more for those people because they did so much for us. They put their lives on the line. So we should at least make sure they have adequate health care, adequate housing, and make sure those things are continually getting better and better each year. But we're going away from that. So that is that struggle of the American dream. I feel like we were going away from that promise that I frankly grew up with, and the promise that I went and served with the military for. And so second to that is the same thing on the other side of that. Our non-veterans, our citizens who are in the world or who are in the US today, they work so hard, I feel, for the little bit that they do receive. And so if people actually had a lobbyist, somebody who actually fought for them on their behalf, we would not see all the corporations getting all this money. To me, and as I understand economics, capitalism is supposed to be cyclical. You're supposed to take that money that you've made and put it back into the system. If you pay your people adequately, they will buy your products. They will buy other products. They will fund new businesses, and those businesses will make new products. And we continue on this great, great engine that we've been promised for decades and generations. But now with the latest rhetoric that we have, it's very much on a restriction. It's no longer the abundance of America, the wonderful, story of America. Now they're taking your jobs, they're taking your money. And so that was the kind of reversal on that promise that I wanted to feel that I felt like I should act on now.
Yeah. So you, everybody that watches us knows that we give all of the guests a questionnaire. So before, on your questionnaire, which is on our website, you had said something about that candidates are often judged by their fundraising ideas instead of their values. So how do you plan on resisting that money that could potentially come in your pocket if you were to be hired to do something for someone else?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I'm beholden to the voters, the people of Texas 31. And so I'm running a grassroots, people-powered campaign, as I've stated, I feel like a lot of times, but that is what I'm trying to fund myself with and do. I think it's another thing I tell people is I'm a regular guy doing regular things. And so if people feel that my message moves them, that's the direction I want to go. Could I take money from corporate lobbies? Could I take money from huge lobbies? I couldn't do that because I couldn't sleep at night. There are other people who are beholden to these giant organizations because the check is so large. Yeah. I really want to be beholden to the people of Texas 31. So the opposite side of that, not only the fundraising, but I want true representative government. I want to have real town halls. I want to explain to my voters and my constituents exactly what we're voting for or why we're voting for it. And I want to hear from them. One final point on this is we have such great technology in the world today. We should be able to know exactly where our tax dollars are going. And we should know exactly what our, our constituents, we should know what our constituents want, but also we should also know where our tax dollars are going. And so we should be telling our, constituents back again, hey, I voted for this, your tax dollars went to that, and this is where your money's going. So when you do pay it. So not only on the fundraising efforts do I not want to receive money from large corporations, I want to tell people where their money is going when they do pay taxes.
You mentioned appealing to the constituency, which I think is probably the most important thing that we should ever discuss when it comes to being an elected official. As we all know, this is a very divided country right now, in a lot of different ways. You are running for office in an area that is, I think it's probably pretty safely up for grabs if you approach it the right way. How do you plan to approach the right-leaning voters in your district in order to break through that filter bubble that says Democrat evil and show them that we really do have so much more in common than we don't?
Yes. So a lot of that really comes down to I have a very pragmatic approach on how I want to approach things. Be that housing, be that food, be that jobs, infrastructure. These are things that everybody either takes part of or needs, or wants, right? Yeah. So my solutions are really centered on that. I want to talk about the actual problems that are bothering people day to day. Secondly is, I focus on economics. I focus on that kind of stuff. I don't really want to get tied up in the things that confuse us or distract us. One thing I say a lot is that while we're arguing about all these things that are taking us away from what's happening, like I said, that American dream is getting further and further away. We're paying more and more into a system that is not coming back to us. We have these large corporations that have these interesting business practices that they are finding loopholes in our laws in order to take more and more from people. And so while we do have this bubble and this, Democrats are evil or Republicans, I can't talk to them. First and foremost, I have friends on both sides, and I want to be challenged by people. I want to know where in the policies or things that I'm suggesting do you not support? Because I want to support things like clean air and clean water and access to food. I want to have great infrastructure. These are things that I think everybody on both sides really want to do. The problem always comes with, how do we do that? How do we actually take care of those things? When I was a child, I used to say that, the big difference between Republicans and Democrats are, how do we spend the money? We only have a bucket of money to use, and we're all arguing which one's more important to spend first. The ultimate goal that I would love to have and do is to have more say for the people, to have where those dollars go. And of course, this is a long-term goal that I would love to see the U.S. move towards. But there is a certain amount of money that we have to actually give up for the common defense and the common good of the United States. But if you yourself, individual voter, want to see more money going into, healthcare research, why can't you shift some of the dollars that you pay in taxes and say, this is the direction I want to support and go? We have so many great pieces of technology today that we can actually, you can buy plane tickets anywhere in the world. You can buy a concert. You can do anything with money with the internet today. Why can't we shape our policy from the voter's perspective? If we want a true democracy, why don't we democratize where those dollars go? Now, will I be able to change that overnight? I may have a pie in the sky approach to this. I know that won't happen, but the more choice we give people, the more freedom they have. And I believe if that's the message we give people, it doesn't matter what side you're on, you're going to want to be able to decide that. And if, 53% of the money that is in the discretionary, where you can decide, goes to defense, great. If 22% of that goes into healthcare and housing, great. But if somebody else is not making those decisions for you and saying, hey, this is the system we have, deal with it, I would love to democratize that even further.
Yeah, I think choice voting has been kind of popular recently. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about that more and more, and hopefully, if you're talking about it, hopefully we're getting closer to that, because that's
hopefully we are.
Yeah,
we've had 2 bills be introduced. I think over the last 2 cycles in Congress, there were bills that were introduced to ban gerrymandering. So it's being talked about, and it's being very clearly delineated by who's responsible also. So when those bills come up, the only people who vote for them are on one side, and the only people who vote against them are on the other. So you can't say that one side wants it and one side doesn't. We all hate it, but one is not willing to ban it federally, and that needs to be addressed.
Can I add one bit on that, though?
Yeah.
When I talk about the sides, I'm talking about the actual voters on the ground. Once people get in there into the House or whatever else, something else takes over, either lobbyists or something, and we get further and further away from representative government. When I say that my friend, my neighbor, they want to have the ability to say where their dollars go or how the government is run, they want to be able to talk to their constituent, regardless of what side they're on, and voice their opinion and have that opinion heard. And so, yes, today we see the outcome of a select few determining that they do not want gerrymandering, they want to maintain and retain power. The power should be more into the voters. That's where we should be going to that. And that's when I say both sides want it. I mean, as in John Q. Citizen, they want to be able to have their say with what's happening in the government today. Because, like I said, lack of choice is lack of freedom. And there are people on both sides who are frustrated with the current state of the democracy.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put a bug in your ear because you're a techie guy.
Okay.
So I don't understand why we cannot use technology for this specific purpose. So if I were in office, why can I not have, I already have web page, I already have all of these things. Why do we not have something where we're putting up, these are the laws, and we have biometric analyzation where we can verify people by their biometrics, by their driver's license, by their facial scans, iris scans, whatever it is. Why do we not have accounts that are logged in as that, to where these people can just simply get on the website, there's bill this, bill this, bill this, bill this, bill this, and vote yes or no on this, to where the representative knows what the actual constituents of their district or their state or their whatever actually want. And
Yes.
I mean, that's true representation. I don't
It is.
understand. We have the technology to do it. I don't know why
Yeah.
we don't have that, or
We
why
can
we're
build
not.
it better. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Were you sitting, Jen?
No, you're good. Go ahead. I'm just agreeing.
Yes. So my understanding is twofold. First and foremost, we do have issues of national security. 100%.
Mhm.
I worked in the intelligence agency or intelligence community. I know that there are things that everybody should not know, because if everybody knows it, our adversaries know it as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
However, we take that way too far. We use everything as a matter of national security. And so one of the things that happened just recently is the state of Texas is going back to, we have to bubble in with ink our ballots this year, when next year coming up. So we had electronics, and we're still going to go through the counting machines, but you used to be able to touch on a pad exactly who you wanted to vote for. Well,
Mhm.
that has been removed. Those are now going into storage because they have deemed, the party in charge has deemed those are not safe. And so we're going to bubble them in, which actually adds for more error, adds for human error. I believe it was, I don't want to misspeak, but there was a red state that actually tried to do hand counting last election, and it went horribly, which of course it did. I don't know why we're trying to go backwards in time to something we know doesn't work. So the first part of my answer is, yes, the first part of my answer is, the people who want those changes are not empowered in order to empower the people. And so I apologize, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but let me back up the two things. One is national security. The other one is, people in power do not want to allow the people the ability to speak. The more we remove voting, voting rights to the country or people in the country, the more in power these people stay.
Yeah.
There's a book that I read, and I forgive me for not remembering the author's name, but it's called Tyranny of the Minority. And in the book, it was 10 chapters long, and it was 9 chapters about how the minority party, which is the Republican Party, is trying to, basically control democracy. And then it was like, got to, chapter 9, I was like, is there any like hope in this, in the end? But in the end, yes, there was some things that could be changed. And so that's where I think people like me, people who are in my, area trying to run, are absolutely looking at things to assist out, to give more of that democracy or that voice to the people.
I think that's really anybody that's running new. I think that's what that is. I think that's the goal anyway, because we all were taught, our generation in general was taught to be nice, to share your toys, to, to not acknowledge differences, that everybody, is a person, all of the things. And we're the ones that are so mortified by what is actually happening here, because we have morals. And I think that anybody that's attempting to run now is really, they're just trying to stop the sensationalists of everything in general. And I do agree with you, though, that that's what it is they don't want the people to have a voice. That's the bottom line.
Speaking
That's
of,
the
since
only point. That's
Go on,
the only point. And I have this conversation with people all the time, on the left, on the right, old, young, male, female. It doesn't matter what race, what religion. Everybody that not everybody, the majority of people I talk to truly believe that their vote doesn't count, and all of this is a farce, and there's no point in involving yourself. And my spiel, my soapbox is always, if that were true, why are they working so damn hard to stop you from doing it?
Absolutely.
That's the whole game. And so we also get a lot of questions on, when we talk about gerrymandering on social media, a lot of people will respond with, well, then what's the point? What can we do? The maps are passed. The only way to defeat gerrymandering while it's live is to show up and vote.
Absolutely.
The numbers of voters have to be able to overcome the gerrymandering that's happened, but you have to get out and do it. You can't just sit back and cry about things going wrong later.
So I will say specifically for Texas 31, Texas did go through the redistricting. It did pass the Texas House. And so one of those things is, though, we have some crazy gerrymandered, districts. We have West Austin, which is Bee Caves and out on Lake Travis, connected all the way to Polk County, which is northeast of Houston. Those are not like communities. They have completely different attitudes and needs. And I have, my sister lives out one direction and I have family the other direction. So it's interesting that they are trying to stretch it so far to water down people's vote. However, a bright spot in this is, as myself running in Texas 31, Killeen is now included. And Killeen is included in my district. It was gerrymandered out in 2021. Now it's put back in. And so that is a benefit to me because those are veterans, those are African Americans, those are minorities, those are people that I am speaking to. And so half of my battle is exactly what you stated, is getting people interested to vote, because this is their time to get out the vote and to vote. And if they have the right candidate, I hope that they can actually, be inspired by me and we can move that needle. So even though they did this redistricting to get 5 additional seats, we want to at least take one of them back, and that's something they didn't even count on. And so while gerrymandering is terrible, we got to get out there and fight it by voting it out.
That's exactly what we've been discussing since that map passed, since we knew it was a sure thing. There's nothing we can do about it. They can fight it in the courts, but we're going to vote on those maps. Our goal has been to make sure that it is Texans for Texans in those seats. We don't care what party you represent at this point, as long as you are a normal, democracy-loving Texan with common human decency. You need to run for those seats. There's 4 new opportunities to get people who care about Texas in power. Run for those seats.
Did y'all guys hear? I saw today, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but that they believe that they did gerrymander the 5 seats, but that they accidentally gerrymandered themselves out of 10 total seats and turned 10 total seats into Democratic seats. Did you guys see that?
I saw that.
I did not.
I saw someone was trying to put that together, but I don't know. I don't know how they're drawn anymore, so I have no idea. But that'd be interesting if they just screw themselves over.
It's like we're just looking at like a black hole now, like some kind of warp psych screen. Like there's no way to figure out, like, where are you running, Justin? You could just be like the U.S. congressman for the entire state. Pick a spot, because next year it'll be in your district.
I might be representing El Paso next. I don't know.
Come to Dallas. We'd love to have you.
I love Dallas. I love being up there. I used to live. I have 2 sons who live in Dallas. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I at least had 2 votes there. If I were there. Just teasing.
So a little while ago, you were talking about sensationalism. So right now, I feel like we're living in pretty extreme times. So I'm under the impression now that we need strong leadership.
Yes, sir.
So whenever if you do and when you do get elected, how far are you willing to I guess take something like this, like with the gerrymandering issue, where some people left, some came back. We even had somebody get locked in for a couple of days. How far are we willing to, I guess, take this fight?
As far as it needs to go, number one, right? I believe the beauty of the United States is our ability to dissent, is our ability to fight the status quo. If we look at everything that's moved the United States along, women's suffrage, civil rights, gay marriage, people were out there fighting for those things, right? Yeah. And the beauty of the United States is the system is not locked in stone. And when people say, well, the founding fathers did X and the founding fathers did Y, I would argue, I don't believe they thought that their words were going to be set in stone for 250 years, because no system stays that long. We have other democracies in the world that have changed and modernized. We could do the same. And so part of this is to say, how do we move our democracy along in order to support regular people? So that's anti-gerrymandering. That's, making sure that we have true representative government. In Germany, they have a House and a Senate as well, but apportioning Senate seats by 2 across everybody really just waters down, like a senator from Wyoming and a senator from California. Those are just completely 2 different jobs. And so if you apportion Senate seats by population, maybe not give them as many as we have with House seats, but maybe 4 for California versus 2 for Wyoming. That actually levels the playing field a little bit more in order to say in the House and in the Senate, they can actually build coalitions along like-minded states to move something along. But today, they only have to have a handful of seats in these small rural areas in order to just skew the entire system. So how do we move things along to a better area? We make it more democratic. We move that direction along.
What would be the first bill that you would bring to the floor?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, like I said before, people work too hard for what they have. We have the Raise the Wage Act of 2025. That really didn't go anywhere. I'll make another one for 2027, right? I want to make sure that the people who are working get adequate pay for what they're doing. Secondly, in that same bill, we would fund that by actually taxing people who are taking or not paying their taxes or paying their fair share. That's the number one thing that we have right now. We have a funding problem, not because we're spending too much, because we've promised a lot to people, but we're not charging enough on people to bring that stuff back. We've done a lot of work in the last couple of years, we as in the United States, to roll back tax policy for a select few people, and that's not helping the everyday worker. So what I want to do is make sure the two bills, or the first bill that I'm doing, is making sure we're raising the minimum wage. The Economic Policy Institute says it should be $17 an hour in order to get from here to 2030, in order to help 22.4 million Americans. I believe that is not going far enough. I believe we do need to make it at least 20, and then go and then fund that based on what we're pulling in tax dollars. I'm sorry, funding that by where we're saying for housing and the market of good, the basket of goods that we actually have there, and making sure that it's tied to that and not arbitrarily by signing a bill every so many years, not since 2009. Yes, Ms. Chastity, sorry, you threw me off.
That's okay. I just raising my hand. So I'm a small business owner. My husband's a small business owner. He owns a plumbing company. I own a hemp dispensary. I've owned hair salons. I've done tons of things. As a small business owner, that is almost impossible to pay somebody. Like, it's hard for me to pay somebody $10 to $11 an hour, which means that I would have to increase my costs. If I increase my costs, then my manufacturer's for sure doing it. Everybody's doing it, and then we're still in the same situation here.
Absolutely. So I believe that we have a lot of grants and a lot of tax loopholes for giant corporations, and we call them job creators, right? We kind of stopped getting out of the term job creators for that. I believe the true job creators in this country are small businesses. There needs to be some way, and this is by funding, of course, to, as you move your business along, you get assistance. Yes, we have loans. Yes, we have things of that nature, but we should have more grants for you to build a small business. And if you're employing 4 or 5 people, that should not hurt you in building your business. A small business, any business's largest expense are their employees. But if you are a certain size business with a certain amount of income, you should absolutely get assistance from the federal government, not the reverse. It's really easy for these giant corporations to get tax loopholes and tax benefits and help. That should not go there. They make and they earn enough money. If they're not putting it back into their people, and this is a common statement that Walmart is the largest employer in the United States, but they also have the largest number of people who are on, assistance.
Stamps, Medicaid, yeah.
Correct. But when I see Walmart stock prices going up and all the, things that we see on the news channels, I say that's my tax dollars. Yes, and corporate bonuses. You should not get 700 times more than the average worker, 500 times more than the average worker. When we talked about Make America Great Again and in the country, what made America great was our high tax rate on the top 2%, 1%. And
Right.
so if you are investing your money, like I said, capitalism should be, it should be distributed. If you're putting that back into your workforce, if you're putting that back into the things, then you start more small businesses. That brings that cyclical, engine going. And if you are a small business just starting out, you absolutely should get assistance for that. You should get a grant for that, not necessarily a loan. Or if you get a loan, let's see how you do with the business. Your idea may be great, maybe not. And if you employ people during that time frame, you absolutely should be forgiven for that loan and make it a grant at that point.
I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene would certainly be inclined to agree with all the PPP loans she got written off.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yes.
even get PPP loans, so.
And it's interesting that when we see these news stories on the PPP loans, it's always people who have like 2 employees, 1 employee, 4 employees, and it's all family. If I don't see, this is how I would take it. If we don't see, Chastity, you're a small business owner and you own small business XYZ hemp dispensary, and then I've got 5 people who are being employed through the pandemic from XYZ hemp dispensary. Hey, PPP loan approved, we're good to go. But if you come back, I met a guy, I knew a guy specifically, he worked for me briefly. He took a PPP loan and he had no employees. He took that money to go buy a building to then say, I'm going to start a business with this PPP loan. I think that's wrong. And I disconnected ties with him because I thought I could not work with somebody who is trying to make over on something like a pandemic. But we should be able to tie that exactly back to where those dollars went to. And if we're going to forgive a loan, it had to go to somebody else's paycheck. We're taking food out of people's mouths, food off people's tables in order to fund people to go on vacation. That is completely wrong and false to me.
Yeah, I lost my hair salon over COVID. They wouldn't give me PPP loans. I couldn't get unemployment. And I was the first one shut down, and I was shut down for the longest and ended up losing my salon over it.
Which is so frustrating because the COVID queen here in Texas, there's a salon owner here in Texas who is famous for protesting the lockdowns by keeping her salon open and refusing to enforce masks mandates during COVID. And she's getting a check from the Trump administration. Because
they arrested her and all of the things, which scared everybody else to not do it.
Yeah. I could go on about the things I think are going backwards with that.
Yeah, that was definitely the craziest time. People had so much money for doing nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So since we're talking about crazy federal conspiracies, there is currently an elephant in the Oval Office named Epstein. What would be your approach to dealing with that situation? Were you sitting in a congressional seat right now?
Absolutely. So number one is there were, 4,000 and something wire transfers that we can actually go and investigate. I want to get away from harming children is horrible and the people who did it are bad. Absolutely. But that should not be the front end of it. The front end should be, hey, you broke XYZ economic policy or rule. And this is how we got Al Capone, right? Was through that. So that's where direction we should take it. Then let everything else come out. If you were involved with this person, if you were doing wrong by way of paying him or whatever else, then that should come out in the investigation. I think the running from it or the rallying behind it today, while the energy is great, we need to focus on the actual things that we can prove and do and come back from. The people who have said that they were harmed in the creation of that island and what they had done down there, that's absolutely should be done and taken care of. But in order to stop this from ever happening again, we got to cut him hit him in the pocket. So the number one thing we need to look at are the economics that made him who he was, and that will absolutely get everybody on the same page. And then we can go after that. We can go after them after that.
You would think it would be super easy for them to go after some kind of like a RICO case or something like that, but I don't know. With not even all the wire transfers, but with all the all the evidence that everybody already admitted to having, and all of a sudden, the pedophile that's been convicted is just believed that Trump was an innocent guy. Like I don't. It's so insane now.
Let it come out in the investigation.
That's why we need to talk to. That's why Alex Acosta needs to be subpoenaed.
He does.
He's the first person, and bless Ben Meiselas's heart. He has been doing this 24 hours a day now for like 3 years, and he is losing his mind. I really just want to send him like a really fat blunt and a drink and be like, please disconnect his Wi-Fi. He's got to breathe for a little bit.
Take a week off, bro.
Oh my gosh. But he's right. Like I don't know. This whole situation is just so frustrating when it comes down to the brass tacks of it all.
It is. And the Justice Department being looked over or interfered with by the White House should be a crime in itself.
Yeah.
The and mentality that the president could do no wrong as long as they're acting in the name of the president
Mhm.
absolutely should be reversed. You know,
Yes.
we look back
Yes.
through so many Supreme Court cases. You know, my wife and I, we were an interracial couple. That was illegal for a while, and it took a Supreme Court case to go back on that because it was deemed illegal by the Supreme Court at one point, and it was deemed unconstitutional at another point. And so we can absolutely reverse that law, or reverse that stance, and then say, hey, you cannot interfere with these independent agencies, because now we don't have any sort of watchdog what's going on. So
Right.
we take it from the, you know, Epstein and the files, and we're looking for that. Okay. But then the president gets involved and says, I'm not getting involved, but we're not going to look at that anymore. Okay. Well, now that you've gotten involved, that should be another court case. We should
Yes.
absolutely investigate that as well. And to me, if you were, I've said this all the time, my kids get annoyed at this, but people who do things in the dark don't like the light, right? If we
Nope.
bring the light out to a lot of these things, we can stop a lot of this stuff. But the reason it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, in my opinion, is we keep allowing things to be done in the dark. If we bring it out in the light, can't be done in the dark. And if, or the people who don't like the light, or, you know, whatever. You know, back to what I'm trying to say as well, about the Acosta and doing what he does, or trying to get him out to speak. They now saying it's a point of national security because he was an FBI informant, or he was with some intelligence agency. And now, again, we're using that way too much. There needs to be an independent review from Congress of people who are cleared to say, is this truly a matter of national security? And if it is, okay, this part is carved out for national security, and now this part needs to be investigated in the public eye. And it's been done time and time again in our country. It's just now, at the second you say national security, we stop everything.
Well, you get the 4chan and the QAnon nuts going crazy. National security. We're gonna, they have definitely managed to corner the market on their audience. Like, they have built such a rock solid filter bubble. You cannot break through. And that's something that I will say, like, the left definitely has its filter bubble. We definitely can go really hard on some really stupid stuff sometimes. Like, the handful of weirdos who went crazy over the Sydney Sweeney thing, like, that's not all of us. I didn't even know about that until I heard about it on the radio, and I was like, I don't care about Sydney Sweeney, whatever. But when it comes down to it, like, these guys have been waiting for these conspiracy theories to be visible in front of them so they can go, aha, it was true. So when you have Trump saying everything's a national security issue, like, we've got to take over DC, it's a national security issue. Now we're going to go to Chicago, it's a national security issue. And that is his response to everything. You then get the support of those nut jobs that have been waiting for this their whole lives. Like, this is the moment we've been prepping for. Everybody go to the bunker.
Yeah.
And I think the point is, we need to prove it. If you're going to say it's national security, prove it.
Yes.
You know, get a coalition of people on both sides of the aisle, people who like you, people who don't. Let's look at the information and then say, yes, this is a matter of national security, or it's not. And at least at the very point, we have additional eyes on it versus one or two or a handful of people in a corner saying, nobody can look at that. Don't look over here. It's not for you.
So
there's a U.S. attorney that Trump just appointed up north somewhere. I cannot remember which state it was, but there was an IDF soldier
was in Vegas.
who was caught. Was it Vegas?
It was in Nevada, I think. Sorry.
Okay, so this guy was here meeting with the NSA and the FBI, and while he was here, was arrested on a child trafficking situation.
Okay.
He immediately called the Israeli embassy and the U.S. attorney's office and was bonded out of jail
He's
and
gone.
went straight back to Israel.
Yeah.
No, this is not even in the news. So we're just sending traffickers on their way now. Like, that's this administration, is we are
And
protecting.
it's crazy
people.
because it was always like a weird conspiracy, like one of those 4chan conspiracies, but it was always directed to the Democratic side. But now that
Yes.
the tables have freaking turned, it's completely like
We got to make sure we link an article to that in the comments or in the description on this, because that definitely sounds like I'm starting a conspiracy theory, but this is a real thing that has happened. It
did happen.
This is a
I'm
real case.
familiar with it. I would love to see that article and read that, because nobody should be above the law. I mean, maybe somebody was a part of a committed a crime, and if somebody else committed a crime and they weren't a part of the IDF, would they get the same treatment? Is that how we do things in this country? The answer is no. But because somebody's getting special treatment, we absolutely should be investigating that.
Yeah.
I think that the problem though is none of this is happening, right? There is literally no accountability for anybody. And people are literally like, we are seeing people revolt. We are seeing Americans revolt against their government, hidden, right? Because it's not being covered by media. It's pretending like it's not even happening, except for in Washington, where we're fortifying the White House. Like, I never thought that I would live to see a time of such crisis in America. And it's scary, and it's happening all around us, and we are so desensitized to it that it's just like, this stuff happens multiple times a day. Multiple times a day, you get this outrageous, crazy story. And we've been trained for this our entire lives. Our generation has been trained for this our entire lives from the day that we were born, right? We had Y2K, we had the stock market crash, we've lived through everything.
And an entire generation of movies prepping us for this. Like Hollywood.
Final Destination.
Yes. And we're so desensitized to it at this point that it's like, oh, we just locked our House representative in the Capitol, and I don't care if you're left, if you're right, if you're in the middle, if you're up, if you're down, if you're blue, yellow, green, purple, red, I don't care who you are. If you live in Texas, you should be pissed right now.
Yes.
Everybody should be. And because what we did was we set legal precedent. We took away our representatives' 14th Amendment right, 4th Amendment right, First Amendment right, constitutional rights, right blatantly in front of you, and entrapped her in the Capitol for having a different political view, which she legally had, legally, and nobody's like, everybody's just, okay, yeah, it happened. That's so crazy, right? I don't understand why there's nobody angry about it. What is happening right now?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a journalist. I was on the newspaper staff when I was in high school. After the military, I wanted to work for CNN because I wanted to bring the real information to people. That was my whole thing. And I am saddened by the state of the news today. First and foremost, what you're saying, it happens every day, multiple times a day. We're being desensitized to it. It's difficult to say which one is more important. And I think that's by design. But secondly, the fourth estate is not acting as the fourth estate. When we do see resistance and information from the media, it's either mixed with conspiracy theories on one side, or they're quickly shut down and removed from the ability to tell the truth on the other. And I believe the press, their protections have been stripped away, First Amendment rights stripped away. I believe that the people who argue about the Second Amendment, and I'm a Second Amendment, person. I own my own guns. I've been in the military.
Say it out loud one more time.
I own guns. I'm a Democrat. But the thing is like, I believe in protecting myself. But the fervor people have about the Second Amendment, we should have about the First Amendment. We should have about the Fourth Amendment. We should be upset and just as upset as people are. And I think the fervor starts from capitalist society. I want the ability to purchase something. But if they're taking away my right to speak, my right to assemble, we should be up in arms. And the press should be forefront at that, explaining to people, this is what's happening today. But the problem is that cable media is by pay. You have to, they're there for profit. And so if we had a strong system where we could, fund that without being paid by commercials or whatever, then maybe we can get a better, the fourth estate, right? That's what I'm looking for. And that's what disservice, I believe, is happening in the media today.
I think there should be stronger laws on the books, though, in regards to these entities being able to claim to be news. So we say cable news, but Fox is not news. And we've proven that with a $1 billion lawsuit that they have to pay out. It's not news. CNN, MSNBC, I feel like any news outlet that is very clearly sponsored should not be allowed to call themselves news.
Correct.
It's misleading. It's creating an ignorant, uncurious society. And I think that infiltrating our media, our journalism, with all of this culture war and capitalism, it's taken away from the original purpose, which was to be the fourth state.
Correct.
I think what I was trying. Sorry.
No, please do.
I think what I was getting at was kind of, do you think that we're even going to make it to the elections? Do you think that we'll even, I mean, I know that this sounds like,
No.
I know it sounds weird and I don't want to be that person, but I started to wonder about it every day. Is like, are we going to even make it there? Are we going to even make it to the next election without having some kind of civil war or some type of, I mean, it's just so tyrannical and we're just allowing it to happen because we're so desensitized to it. I don't even know.
This is the very partial, well, not partial, but this is the very nugget, right, of my concern. If we are removing democracy, if we're getting away from democracy, what am I doing, Justin Early? What am I doing to make sure we have our democracy as we grew up with, we were taught in school, that we think is the best system in the world?
Yeah.
I said, if I don't stand up today in order to try to fight for this, to gather people, to rally people, to say this is what's happening, then I've truly given up. And so while I believe that we absolutely have every obstacle in front of us, from the White House on down, trying to prevent us from saying what we need to say by ballots and doing it via the vote, we have to try. And that is why I'm speaking. I hope that's why you have your podcast. You're speaking your truth, and you're getting people to understand the importance of what is happening today. And if we sat inside and hidden away and got scared of what's going on, then we are allowing it to happen. But we sitting here on this call right now, we are striving for better, and we need to get more people on board with us to do that. And to answer your question, I'm afraid as well. However, I can't just let it happen. I want to fight for it.
I think a lot of people are just waiting for someone to take the lead. At least I know, like in my group of friends, because I'm a veteran myself, and I know within the group of the veterans that I associate with, they're not too concerned for whatever reason. I'm definitely way more on the cautious side, like, okay, we should be getting ready for something, but I just feel like either it's not taken seriously enough, or I mean, I don't know, someone just has to do it,
yeah, the desensitized.
I mean, this is I get in front of people and I speak to people, and my name is Justin Early, and here's how I want to help your pocketbook, and here's how I want to make sure that you get representative government. But I want them to understand, if we don't do this today, we may not have a system to vote for in the future. This, to me, is the precipice of what we do not want. Pick any dystopian novel that you would like to pick. That may be the direction you're going, right? And when you guys are going through movies and stuff, I don't want to talk about The Purge, but if it's not beyond our imagination, we should be frightened. The reason that we have cartoons and things of the imagination is because they're supposed to be so far out of reach. That's not the reality we live in today. And so we need to make sure we're fighting to make sure that reality stays the way we want it.
Everybody, for the longest time that I could remember, every election is always the most important election. Every year is always the most important year. The democracy is always on the line. I've never felt that until this year, I think.
Agreed.
I think I've before then it was just like all sensationalized, and it was just everybody just blowing and I thought it was fine. There was a bunch of bumps in the road, but for the most part, everything was fine. But at this time, it's definitely not.
Different.
This is something way fucking different.
Yeah.
We're jailing people for simply speaking out.
Exactly.
And like I said, the beauty of America is the ability to dissent, the ability to push that envelope to say, hey, when we asked for rights, when people fought for rights, they weren't inventing something new. They were saying, hey, you've got this right over here. We want it as well. But today they're saying, instead of us expanding rights and giving more to people, we're restricting everything and taking it back. And that's where we have to push back and fight back. And I agree with you. Every election, they say this is the most important election and democracy is at risk. We are absolutely witnessing it today. So
I heard a lot of people when Obama was elected for the first time. My family's very, very, very Republican, hardcore Republican. I'm the black sheep. I came to just make a mess of things. But aside from that, he's going to implement Sharia law and take away all your guns. It was, there's going to be civil war. There's going to be civil war. There's going to be civil war. I agree with Tovar. Like there hasn't been a point in my lifetime, at least, where I ever felt as uneasy about the state of things from neighbor to neighbor. It's crazy. Like my next door neighbor is Veterans for Trump, and we've had storms come through and we help each other out and we've got each other's backs and we're neighbors. But I can't with 100% confidence say that he wouldn't. I can't with confidence say that my neighbors who lean the other way would have my back in an emergency.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because the division or the forces that are trying to divide us are succeeding.
Yeah.
And I have a neighbor across the street as well. And of course, I announced to them and I said, hey, I'm going to run for Congress. And they used to have the biggest Trump signs on the block. And we still communicate with them. We still talk with them. But I want them to understand that I'm just as human as you are. I'm just as American as you are. I've served my country. I've done all the things that we say we love and do. But when push comes to shove, people will fall back on those dividing, attitudes. And so that's where yes. And
that's one of the reasons
better. They know you better than they know him.
Correct.
We wanted you guys to be able to actually speak to your neighbors, the neighbors that maybe don't want to listen. We wanted to give candidates an opportunity to show people who wouldn't normally give us a chance to talk that we're not the demons that you're being told we are, and we really do want the same things. And I've got your back too, because Texans for Texans, Americans for Americans, like at the end of the day, you're my neighbor, you're my brother, and I want you to be happy, because if you're not happy, that's going to end up over my fence at some point anyway. We've got to have each other's backs. It cannot just be one side versus the other. We've got to be looking at policies. Listen to what Justin is saying to you. Listen to the things that he is passionate about. Are you passionate about those things? Do you care about veterans? Do you care about property taxes? Do you care about health insurance? Do you care about cost of living? Guess what? He does too. He's not a monster. Don't even worry about party anymore. Look at the character of a person and make your decision based on that.
Agreed. It's been said by people running, but this is honestly not a left versus right issue. It's a top versus down issue. And the more we argue about left versus right, the more money they pull from us, the more division they add into us. So I'm very empathetic. I love my neighbors. I love people. I love people in general, right? Yeah. If you find me anywhere, I'll probably talk your ear off, like I've done here. But it's because I care and I'm very empathetic. But at the same time, I see that we are putting policies in place that are hurting people. And that is my baseline. I will not do anything to hurt people. I want to expand rights. I want to make sure that people live their best lives and giving what they are. And just because somebody's different from you, looks different from you, acts different from you, doesn't mean we need to restrict them and take them away or take something away from them. But it's difficult. It's a difficult hill to climb, and I'm willing to do it. So
we're excited for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So as far as cannabis reform goes, how would you broach that subject on the House floor?
So absolutely, the schedule should be changed. And I know Trump likes to dangle that carrot. A lot of people like to dangle the carrot of changing the schedule. That's just too easy. It's paperwork, right? In order to do that, number one. Number two, well, that's the first thing we should do. And we have examples of other states in the country who are successful with marijuana reform, with cannabis reform. And three, with that, why are we still holding people in prisons, jails. Let's expunge their records, because if you're making money, millions or billions of dollars on this plant, why are we still, putting people in prison and jail? And I understand that there are still lobbyists for the prison system. There's a lot of things that centered around the restrictions and the prohibition of marijuana. If we got rid of those things, we could focus on larger and bigger things. So number one is to remove the schedule, because that would hurt the people who make the most money on the underground market. After that, I would love to go and just allow, we allow states to do what they need to do, but put a minimum on, like in my county here in Williamson County, it's decriminalized, right? And just say, hey, look, it's decriminalized nationwide, and move on from there. That should be the top two things we do.
That's what we want. Decriminalization, not descheduling, not rescheduling, decriminalization.
Decriminalization, absolutely. So,
and then end the discriminatory drug test.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think what goes along with that is prison reform. Like, we cannot have privatized prisons. There cannot be an opportunity to profit off of someone's incarceration. That has to stop. As soon as you start limiting the number of beds that you can put an inmate into, people are going to stop just locking you up for no reason. I'm a huge proponent for eliminating privatized prisons in this country.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, there are absolutely people who are a danger to society.
Absolutely.
100%. We know that, we see that, and they get like all kind of documentaries on every channel about them. But at the same time, when the government went from what you're doing in your private home is your private business to now what you're doing in your private home is the government's business, such as the war on drugs and everything of that nature. Now we're taking it to criminalizing things that only harmed yourself or is a medical issue. And for me, that absolutely needs to change, because if they're making money off the prisons, they're going to find every reason to lock people up, and they're going to, because it's $1 a head. And if you get paid by the body, then you're just going to keep moving people along. And that goes from the prison systems, but also that goes to local law enforcement as well. Law enforcement offices get money, from the federal government to enact the war on drugs. Right. So if we change that to being a system of, social work or caring and helping, that absolutely we can keep the jobs, we can keep the people doing what they're doing, but make their focus different. I think we can have a wildly different environment if we do those things.
And to be clear, we're not talking about shutting down prisons, you guys. Like, we don't believe in just letting letting people who've committed crimes out on the street. That is not what we're saying. We're saying is that you should not be able to profit off of someone being incarcerated. There should still be state-run facilities. We have plenty of those, plenty of federal money for them. Stop with the privatized prisons.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of these companies are actually traded on, they trade stock, and
that's not okay.
That's disgusting. Yeah, it's not okay.
Well, it is about that time. We really appreciate you coming on the show. We started this. Do you ever watch Diary of a CEO or listen to Diary of a CEO, the podcast?
I have not. No, ma'am.
You haven't? So at the end of every Diary of a CEO, I feel like I always have to say this because I don't want them to think that we're totally stealing their idea. But at the end of that podcast, they ask somebody, whoever they're interviewing, a question, and then that person answers the question from the person before them. So your question, do you remember what it was, Jen?
Yes.
Or anybody have it written down?
What is your favorite movie?
Oh, I have 7 kids. That's like asking me which one of my kids is my favorite. So my friend, I have a good.
You
friend
got
of
that
mine.
one, dude. I know you got that one.
Y'all remember Snatch? Guy Ritchie's Snatch?
Oh yeah,
movie?
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
Wait, you're a Guy Ritchie fan?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We're good.
But also, if I were to quote, I'm going to give you 2 more just because I quote them all the time. Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes.
Every time I crack my neck, I do it like I can't remember the character's name is. Anyway,
Nick Patel. No. Something Patel.
It's not. Patel was the first Evil X. I think it was the second. I think it was the second. I want to say Todd, but Todd was the third. Anyway, and then I also Black Dynamite. I love Black Dynamite, and my friends, I was like, hey, y'all want to watch something that's kind of part of my culture? And they were like, what are you talking about? And man, I had them rolling on the floor of Black Dynamite. So those are my top 3.
Those are awesome. You guys, if you want to get to know Justin a little bit better, you can visit him at votejustinearly.com and at votejustinearly on all of his socials. Tuesday, we will be back with a candidate for a Texas House seat, Texas House seat. That will be Taylor Remit. Justin, we want to bring you back a little bit later on in this journey so that we can touch base with you and see how things are going. We're really excited to see what you do with this.
Thank you. I'd be excited to come back, and this is a phenomenal experience. Thank you for having me.
I got 2 more things.
Yes.
So we need to get a question from you for our next guest.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you a minute to think on that. And actually, yeah, if you could.
I already got it. I'm
okay,
ready.
go for it.
So the question is, if you could be any instrument in a band, what instrument would you be? And I asked this question because each instrument has a different purpose in bringing the music, you know? And if you want to be out in front and you're the lead guitar, or you want to keep the rhythm and you're the drums, you're going to keep the rhythm there. I personally like the bass, you know, because, you know, the bass is it's strong. It holds things down. You can get a little funky with it and have a little, you know, flavor with that. But you are absolutely there to make sure the music is the music is the music. You take out the bass line of any song, you can't even listen to it anymore.
Are you a musician?
I am not a musician. What's funny is when I was younger, there was one year I got gifted 7 guitars. And everybody's like, do you play guitar? I'm like, no, I just told somebody I wanted to learn. I got gifted 7 guitars in 1 year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you ever learn how to play them?
I have 2 of them right in front of me. No, I still don't play. I do too much with my life. I'm too busy for it. I wish I did. Maybe one day when I retire in an island or something. I don't know. So.
Miracle.
All right. So we're here with Justin Early. I'm going to go ahead and give you the last word. Why Justin Early?
You know, I'm a regular guy doing regular things, but I'm very passionate. I'm very empathetic and understanding. I'm a person who listens first. I want to seek to understand, but at the same time, I want to make sure that we're given the rights that we've always been promised. I want to make sure that we're living the lives that are our best ability, and just want to make sure that we're taking care of each other. So,
alrighty, sir. Thank you, Justin. You can hang out for a little bit after we end the stream, but as far as everything else, anyone got anything?
Thank you for your service, Justin.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you
and
very
much for coming on.
Yes.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, thanks everybody. Y'all have a great weekend.